It's Sunday afternoon. The weekend sun is still shining, but there's a subtle shift in the air. A quiet reminder that Monday is just around the corner. Maybe you're lounging on the couch, trying to soak up those last moments of freedom, or gazing out the window, wishing time would slow down. As the light fades, that heavy feeling creeps in. Yes, the Sunday scaries. It's that familiar wave of anxiety that washes over you as the weekend slips away, replaced by the looming responsibilities of the week ahead. That big project you promised to tackle is looming, deadline tomorrow, clock ticking. The pressure builds, and your mind starts racing through all the things you haven't done yet. You know you should start, but instead, you're suddenly obsessed with reorganizing the spice rack. Suddenly, every jar needs to be alphabetized, every shelf wiped down. Just a quick tidy up, you tell yourself. It'll only take a few minutes, right? Maybe if the kitchen is spotless, you'll feel more in control. But minutes turn into an hour, and soon, your kitchen is spotless. The counters gleam, the floor is swept, and every dish is put away. You stand back, admiring your work, feeling a fleeting sense of accomplishment. Yet, the blank page still waits, and the anxiety only grows. The task you've been avoiding hasn't disappeared, it's just been hiding behind a sparkling clean kitchen. If this sounds familiar, take a breath. You're not alone. This cycle of procrastination and anxiety is something so many of us experience, especially when the pressure is on. Millions of us do anything but the one thing we're supposed to do. Sometimes it feels like everyone has their own version of the spotless kitchen. We clean, scroll, binge watch, or research random facts. Some of us even become experts in obscure topics, all in the name of avoiding what really matters. Maybe you find yourself making an elaborate snack or watering every houseplant in sight, anything to delay starting that daunting task. It feels illogical, but it's not laziness. You might wonder why you can't just get started, but there's more to it than willpower. This is your brain's way of protecting you from stress and negative emotions. When faced with something overwhelming, your mind looks for comfort and control, often in the form of cleaning or other distractions. That urge to clean instead of facing the deadline? It's a coping mechanism. It's your brain's attempt to soothe itself, to find order in chaos. So let's stop beating ourselves up and start understanding what's really going on. Self-compassion is the first step to breaking the cycle. Try setting gentle reminders or taking a moment to stretch or breathe. Small acts of kindness toward yourself can make a big difference. You're not lazy or broken, just human. We all have our ways of coping, and it's okay to need a little help sometimes. So next time the Sunday scaries hit, remember, you're not alone. Let's dig deeper into why we do this and how we can move forward together. We've been told procrastination means laziness or lack of willpower. But that story is wrong and harmful. It piles guilt onto stress, making it even harder to start. Procrastination isn't a time management problem, it's an emotion regulation problem. We don't put off things we enjoy. We avoid tasks that trigger dread, boredom, or anxiety. Putting things off gives instant relief, but the task just waits, growing more stressful. This isn't about work ethic. It's about managing feelings. Next time you procrastinate, don't call yourself lazy. Ask, what feeling am I trying to avoid? Fear? Boredom? Overwhelm? Reframe procrastination as an emotional issue, not a character flaw. That shift is the first step to breaking the cycle. You can't fix what you've misdiagnosed. Inside your brain, two forces battle: the prefrontal cortex, your logical planner, and the amygdala, your ancient threat detector. The prefrontal cortex sets goals and thinks long-term. The amygdala wants immediate relief from discomfort, sounding the alarm at any sign of stress. When a task triggers anxiety, your amygdala hijacks your brain, drowning out logic with a demand for comfort. That's why you scroll or clean instead of working. The amygdala wins. This isn't weakness. It's an old survival mechanism clashing with modern life. Understanding this tug-of-war is key. You're not weak-willed, just wired for survival. Recognize the battle, and you can start to tip the balance. Let's see how emotions drive this even further. Procrastination is never neutral. It's loaded with emotion. Every time you put something off, there's a feeling lurking underneath, quietly steering your choices. It's not just about being lazy or disorganized. It's about what's happening inside your mind and body. Sometimes it's boredom. Your brain craves novelty, so even sorting socks feels better than a dull spreadsheet. You might find yourself scrolling endlessly or doing chores that suddenly seem urgent, all because your mind is searching for something more stimulating. Other times it's self-doubt or imposter syndrome. Tasks trigger fears of inadequacy. You might worry you're not good enough, or that you'll be exposed as a fraud, so you avoid starting altogether. These feelings can be powerful enough to stop you in your tracks. The amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm system, flags these feelings as threats, making avoidance feel safer. Your body reacts as if you're in danger, even if the only threat is a looming deadline or a challenging email. Overwhelm is another culprit. Huge projects can paralyze you, so you seek control in small, manageable tasks. When everything feels too big, your brain tries to protect you by focusing on what feels doable, even if it's not the most important thing. Even resentment can drive procrastination. Delaying becomes a subtle rebellion against unfair or unwanted tasks. If you feel forced or unappreciated, putting things off can feel like a way to reclaim some power, even if it's just temporary. In every case, procrastination is about escaping discomfort, not laziness. It's a coping mechanism, a way to avoid feelings that are hard to face, whether it's anxiety, frustration, or just plain boredom. Recognizing the emotion behind your avoidance is the first step to changing it. When you pause and notice what you're feeling, you give yourself the power to respond differently. Ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? Is it fear, boredom, resentment, or something else? Naming the emotion can help you understand your patterns and break the cycle. Once you know, you can start to address it. You can choose a new response, one that moves you forward instead of keeping you stuck. Now, let's talk about perfectionism, another feeling that often hides behind procrastination. Perfectionism is procrastination in disguise. It's not about high standards, it's about fear of being judged for imperfection. The perfectionist's brain sets impossible goals, making the first step feel overwhelming. If you never start, you can't fail. Your idea stays perfect in your mind. This all-or-nothing mindset is paralyzing. Every action is judged against an impossible standard, fueling self-criticism and exhaustion. Procrastination becomes a shield. If I had more time, it would be perfect. It's a way to protect your ego from the reality of imperfection. Recognize this pattern, and you can start to break free. Let's get practical with a tool to help you start. Here's a practical tool that can help you break through procrastination and overwhelm: the 5-minute rule. It's simple, but surprisingly powerful. When you're feeling stuck or dreading a task, promise yourself you'll work on it for just 5 minutes. That's it. No pressure to finish. Just a tiny window to get started. Set a timer. 5 minutes is short enough that anyone can handle it, even on your worst days. It's a commitment so small, your brain can't really argue with it. You're not signing up to finish the whole project or even make a dent. You're just agreeing to begin, to take that very first step. This tiny commitment lowers the stakes and quiets your amygdala's alarm, making the task feel less threatening and more approachable. Suddenly, opening a document or writing just one sentence feels doable. The pressure to be perfect or productive disappears. And here's the magic. Once you start, momentum often carries you further than you expected. 5 minutes can turn into 10 or even an hour without you realizing it. After 5 minutes, you have full permission to stop. But if you're in the groove, you might just want to keep going. The choice is yours, and that freedom makes it easier to begin. The hardest part is always starting. The 5-minute rule is designed to get you over that initial hump, to make the first move less intimidating. It's about shrinking the barrier to entry until it's too small to resist. You're making the task so easy to begin, you almost can't say no. Try it next time you're stuck or overwhelmed by a big project. You might be surprised at how much progress you can make in just a few minutes. Often you'll find that 5 minutes is all you need to get rolling. And sometimes it's all you need to finish what you started. The key is to just begin, no matter how small the step. Every journey starts with that first move. Small starts lead to big progress. Over time, these tiny efforts add up to real accomplishments. Remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Now let's talk about self-forgiveness. One of the most effective ways to break the procrastination cycle is self-forgiveness. It sounds soft, but research shows it works. Beating yourself up only fuels more avoidance. Shame and guilt make you feel worse, triggering more procrastination. Forgiving yourself breaks this cycle. Studies show students who forgive themselves for procrastinating are less likely to repeat it. Self-forgiveness means letting go of the emotional baggage and moving forward. Treat yourself with the kindness you'd offer a friend. When you slip up, acknowledge it, forgive, and ask, what's the next small step? Compassion reduces stress and helps your logical brain take charge again. Kindness is a better motivator than cruelty. Let's look at another strategy for tackling overwhelm. Overwhelm is a major driver of procrastination. Huge, vague goals like write my thesis paralyze us. The solution? Break big goals into tiny, concrete steps. Don't just write the introduction. Open a new document and type a title. Make the first step so small it feels silly not to do it. This gives you clarity and a clear roadmap. Each micro-task you complete gives your brain a hit of dopamine, a small win. Progress becomes a series of easy victories, not a mountain of dread. You start to associate the project with satisfaction, not anxiety. Break your scariest goal down until the next step is laughably easy. Then do it. Momentum builds from there. Now, let's wrap up with the most important message. Overcoming procrastination isn't about perfection, it's about self-compassion. You're not lazy or broken. You're human, wired to avoid pain and seek comfort. Understanding your brain's wiring and emotional triggers is empowering. The 5-minute rule, self-forgiveness, and breaking down goals are powerful tools. Change takes time, and setbacks are normal. When you slip, be kind. Acknowledge, forgive, and gently return to the next small step. Progress is messy, not linear. The goal is to be a little better today than yesterday. Take one small action right now, just the tiniest step. Put on your shoes, open that email, write one sentence, celebrate that win. You have the power to break the cycle. It all starts with a single compassionate step forward.